Welcome, gentlemen, to the first Olympics Committee meeting for the year 2307. This is going to be an important one. Not only it will be hosted in New Zealand, it's the 100th Olympic Games.
Yes, 100 Olympic Games is quite the achievement. I think it is very important that we place an emphasis on this important historic moment and pay tribute to our history and the history of the Olympic Games.
It is important for the world to understand and recognize that each of these sports have their own whakapapa, just as the Olympics has theirs. A lot of our sports have been on various walk-arounds the world and are changing even still. How can we share this with our viewers?
Well, clearly, we need to focus on the best sport of all time, rugby sevens.
(1822) Warwickshire, England. Football was played differently back then, with teams able to pick up and drop kick the ball toward the opposition's goal. This particular game of football soon turned out to be a pivotal moment in history. William Webb Elliot decided that on this day he was going to make his own rules. When the ball came to him, he picked it up and ran with it, instead of kicking it towards the opposition's goal. That was the moment that William Webb Elliot made a history and made rugby.
I agree that the beginnings of rugby is important, but surely we must also consider the creation of the true best sport, basketball.
Springfield, Massachusetts, December 1891. It was a cold and wet winter, and the boys at the local YMCA were trapped indoors, restless and bored. The teacher in charge of these boys, James Naismith, saw their frustration and decided to create an active game using their indoor gymnasium.
This game can't play with small hard balls like softball or cricket. There are too many wingers. This game has to be fast-paced and competitive to keep the boys interested, probably with teams. We don't have the room for full-size soccer goals. I've got it! Boys, I've got a game and I think you'll love it!
Using a soccer ball with 2 peach baskets, he constructed the early game of basketball with 13 simple rules. To begin with, there was no dribbling and there was 9 players on the court at a time. A goal was scored only if the ball stayed in the basket. If it bounced out, the goal was not counted. Players had to climb up and retrieve the ball from the net each time someone scored. However, by 1906, the bottom of the net was cut out to allow the ball to fall through the hoop. Thanks to Dr. James Naismith and the threat of bored boys, we now have the sport basketball that we enjoy today.
Yes, each of those team sports do have great stories, but we also must consider sports which feature solo players, such as tennis.
(1873), Londoner Major Walter Wingfield invented a game called playing ball. The women wore massive gowns that came down to their ankles, along with the men, who wore long-sleeve tops and crinoline trousers, which is a very stiff, uncomfortable fabric. Tennis then adapted from underarm to overhead serves, along with the Americans discovering 3 new grips. 1. The continental chopper grip, used for volleys and serves. 2. The forehand Eastern grip. And 3. The backhand Eastern grip.
In the beginning of 1983, graphite rackets were introduced to the game of tennis. Not only were they lighter,
You could create rackets much larger without actually being heavier than wood.
It was also in the 1980s the real success of double-handed backhands came about with the three number one players. 1. Bjorn Borg, 2. Jimmy Connors, and 3. Chris Evans.
Now we're getting somewhere. If we look into the whakapapa of individual sports, surely we must acknowledge the journey of important individuals themselves. I can think of two particular swimmers that have shaped the path of swimming over the decades.
Welcome back to the 1956 Melbourne Olympic Games. My name is Bobby Jones and I have the privilege of commenting today's swimming event, the women's 100 metre freestyle. There are some very talented swimmers here today. Let's see how they go.
And they're off. A good start from Dawn Fraser. Coming in a close second, we have Lorraine Craft. The record for this event is 1 minute 2 seconds. Dawn Fraser comes in with a record-breaking time of 59.9 seconds.
Ah yes, key sports people. Sport people carry and shape the development of this sport, but should we also look into the historic events that perhaps weren't so positive? I'm thinking of the 2018 Sandpaper scandal.
Welcome back from the lunch break. So Mark, what do you think about today's game between New Zealand and Australia?
This is a classic matchup between two Trans-Tasman rivals. Hopefully we continue to witness a fantastic day of cricket. Something's going on. It's the Australian fielder. Cameron Bancroft appears to be sanding the ball with an industrial sander.
What crazy series of events we've witnessed here today.
Just when we thought the Aussies couldn't sink any lower, they've gone ahead and pulled off a stunt like this.
And many years before that, each sport has an extensive whakapapa which we need to pay tribute to. Moments in history we must cherish and pass on.
And which the players should also honour. It is important that we all know how our sport started and the journey it has been on.
And the people that shape those journeys, whakapapa is all about people.
Where we have been, where we are now, where we are going.
People shape history, people shape whakapapa. It is about the people. They are the tonga of every journey or story.
He aha te mea nui o te ao.
He tangata, he tangata, he tangata.